Okay everyone, welcome to the day one warm-up for our new training cycle. We're going to start off on the ground in a 90-90 hip transitions. So for this, we're starting off with legs at 90, toes pulled up to shins, and then in that setup, we can pitch forward a little bit for an outer hip stretch, but not the priority. The priority is to work on this transition, and then potentially a little quick hit. But again, the main point here is this middle zone. So just to slow down through this, proud chest, canister stays connected, and the knees are broad. So really work that position. To emphasize that more, I'll try and pick one knee up and leave the other one down for as long as I can, and then cycle over to the other side. Again, pick that knee up, this side's tighter for me, and then back again. We're aiming for 5 per leg, so I think I'll do one more, and if you're moving a little quicker than me, you should have 5 done at this point. Great stuff. Okay, so from there we're going to go into an adducted rock back. We're going to do a bunch of stretches all on one leg, and then we'll switch sides just to give a bit of heads up. So in that adducted rock back, we're on the inside edge of the foot, so the foot is not flat, and then from there we're rocking back and forth. We're only aiming for about 5 or 6 reps here. Try to exhale as you rock back, inhale as you rock forward. Good, last 1 or 2. Again, always trying to minimize tailbone tucking underneath. Okay, from there we're going to come into a pigeon stretch. So for this one, I'm setting up in a high plank. Same leg that was outstretched is now going to come across, trying to get my shin straight across parallel to my shoulders. I untuck my rear foot, and then I sit into that right hip. Okay, we'll come out of that again, and then you can either just come to here, that's version 1. I'll show you a harder version now next round. Back into my stretch, you can see I repointed my toe, I'm squaring my hips, I'm getting that outer hip stretch, sinking in, retucked the toe, and now the more advanced version is we're going to pike, and that same leg, if you have room behind me, or if you have room behind you, you'll extend it up towards the air before coming back into another pigeon. We're going to do one last one of these, so again, pick the variation you want. Ooh, can I fit it in? Just about. And then back over to that leg again. Okay, from there we're going to keep that general movement, but this time move to a Spider-Man step. So foot up to the outside, rear leg strong and straight, knee presses out nice and broad. And then from there we'll do another, aiming for between 3 and 5 of each of these things. Again, 5 if you're moving at a faster tempo, 3 if you're somewhere in between. I'm going to just hit a 4th rep and then I'm going to move on, just so we get through everything. And then although this has been all right side so far, we're going to finish off with an opposite side hip flexor stretch just for the flow of the warm-up. So again, I'm just working on getting that tilt, lift and squeeze. Tilt, lift, squeeze, back off, tilt, squeeze that glute, press the hip forward and back off. Tilt, squeeze, feel free to add in at this point an overhead reach, all that good stuff. Just make sure that that rib to hip connection stays solid and that you're not bowing open. Okay, I'm going to get 2 more of these, and then last one. Okay, and then we're going to repeat all of that on the opposite side, the leg we just stretched actually. So we're going to go starting off that opposite leg now out in an adducted rock back. Again, I'm getting onto the inside edge of my foot. I'm rocking back and forth. If you've got any movement in your low back or canister, great idea to put your hand on your low back just so you can feel what's happening back there a little bit more. Again, the goal is to feel as though you could balance a glass of water on your low back. So again, we're just aiming for about 5 or 6 of these, so I'm going to do my last one here. Then we're going to go into our pigeon stretch. So again, I have that mat underneath me just to make it a bit more comfortable. Holy, this is a tight one for me, so I'm going to spend slightly longer on my first rep, just sinking in, trying to get into that corner, just kind of pointing that hip back, picking up the stretch. Again, our more standard version is just to bend the knees in a kind of slight downward dog kind of setup, and then come back in. And if you want to, the more advanced version, again, is to kick that leg up towards the air. Just make sure you've got room for it. And then back in. Good. I'm going to do my 4th rep again. Up to 5 on these. I just went a little slower on my first rep so I could really sink in. So you might have been moving a little bit faster, hopefully hitting that 5th rep if you are a little more limber. And then from there, we're coming into our Spider-Man step. So that same left leg, in my case, is stepping forward now. Rear leg long and strong, chest proud. First rep, I'm feeling tight, so I'm going to again move a little slower today, just really work on optimizing this position. You might already be on your 2nd rep, in which case you're going to get a full 5 on this side. Whereas again, I'm only going to get 4 here. Rear leg long and strong, really nice proud chest. And this will be my last one. Rear leg strong, proud chest, sink those hips in. Awesome. Okay, from there I'm dropping the knee down and we're going into our hip flexor stretch. So again, I'll go side profile here so you can see. Tilt the hip, squeeze the glute, push the knee into the floor, back off and repeat. Lift the hip, push the knee down into the floor, and then back off. One image that I like to have is having my knee on a treadmill belt, and if the motor wasn't working, I'm going to try and push that treadmill belt backwards without again just kind of falling forward into the position. I'm not just rocking forward, I'm very energetic, very purposeful with that down and back pressure, trying to push my kneecap backwards against the ground. Okay, we'll just do last one or so, and again you could have already maybe added in some reaches if that does good things for your body. I'll do one last rep. And that's our hip flexor done. Okay, we're coming to a pec stretch. For this, you'll need a wall or an anchor or something like that. So I have something here. I'm going to put my inside hand nice and high, and then I'm going to step through at my inside leg. So inside leg steps through in a slight lunge position. Hand is high, thumb is back, hand on rib cage, and then I'm just going to open up that rib cage. Now for the first few, I can just pulse this as a smaller motion. But if I'm feeling good with that and the shoulder, encouraging that rib cage to move away from the arm, I can then add the step. So then it's not really a lunge, but the whole thing just becomes a bit more dynamic. Good, so let's get another 2 or 3 of those. Again, a door frame is great. You can do this on a straight wall. It doesn't have to be an edge. I'm going to do one last one here. Okay, and then switching over to the other arm just to show that it could be on any object. I'm going to go against the wall. Just use the tackiness of the edge of your hand. Same thing, I'm going to step that inside leg through, and then I'm just going to work on that feeling of pulling my rib cage away from my anchor point, which in this case is my hand. Again, my hand is up nice and high, above a 45-degree angle. That's what really helps get that pec minor stretch a little bit more. And if things are feeling good on this side, we can make the whole thing a bit more dynamic by stepping that inside leg through and then back out. Let's do another 2 or 3 of these. Okay, and then the next thing we're going to do is a bit of a lat stretch. If you had a door frame, you could hold on to the back side of the door frame for this one. But just to show you could use a countertop or something as well. So I'm going to do that variation, like a edge of your couch or something like that. So I'm going to rotate thumb up to the sky. I'm going to sit into a hip hinge, and then from there I'm just trying to be tacky. You might even see the boxes slightly lifting because I'm pulling against it. And then from there I'm going to take my opposite hand and reach it underneath. And we're going to do about 5 of these kind of lengthening reaches. And then back off. So again, here's my relaxed position with slack in the system. I'm now lengthening my tailbone. I'm tacky on my hand, and I reach through. Back off. Let's do 1 or 2 more of those. Reach through and back off. As I'm reaching, that helps me open that armpit angle. You'll see I'm closer to 180 degrees there than when I'm higher. This is obviously that. So I'm switching over to the other side now. Thumb pointing up towards the sky. Again, I lengthen that line. I pick up that feeling of opening up my shoulder first, and then afterwards I rotate through. 1, 2, 3, and just to show the other version for final couple reps, I could be going thumb down against something I can grip onto, and now I'm limited in my ability to rotate now because I'm right up against the wall, but I can still get in there, get that reach, and for me I prefer that one if you have the option because it gives you a slightly better stretch because you can actually hang on something. Okay, from there we're going to pick up the tempo now, having stretched everything out, and go into some reverse lunges. We're going alternating back stepping just to show the side profile. Again, we always want to see that vertical line from the rear pillar and the front knee. And then back up again, and we're alternating rep to rep. You might take a rep or 2 where you kind of hover and pause and just look and evaluate, are you looking good? Back up again to show an example of a not so good rep. I still have good spinal alignment, but everything there is too far forward. A take home out of this for me is I try to pick up the sensation of a quad stretch and a little bit of a hip flexor stretch at the bottom of each lunge. Good, so again we're knocking out anywhere between a minimum of 5 per leg and ideally up to 8 per leg, so we get 16 total reps. That's quite a few, should help elevate the heart rate, get you moving. Good, I think I'm at 5 or 6 here, so 2 more per leg. Awesome, one last one. Okay, from there we're going to come down onto the ground in a hip hinge side plank. So I've padded my elbow and my outside of my knee. You don't have to pad both, whichever is more tender for you. We're starting off getting that canister braced, shoulder broad. I'm pushing my elbow into the ground so I'm not slack. From there then, first version, we're just coming up and forward, locking those hips, pressing out. So I'm imagining as though someone is holding onto my belt buckle and pulling me backwards towards the wall, and I'm fighting that effort to squeeze both glutes and lock. Tap, but don't rest, and then come back up again. Common error as we tap is to go limp. So notice my shoulder here as I go limp. We don't want that. So if that's happening to you, kind of stay hovering on the ground and relearn how to hold that push. And then back up again. These do not have to be together in the top position. In fact, slightly opening them is a nice variation that helps a bit more glute engagement. And then if you want to add a bit more spice, we're swinging that top leg up and holding for a second, and then just bring it back to neutral on the way down. We're aiming for 6 to 8 per side. I'll do one more on this side. Bridge up and lock and press. Okay, for the next one, I'm just going to change my orientation so you can see from the kind of linear direction how I am hopefully locking out and creating that same pillar. So starting off again with our more basic version, you now hopefully understand we're pulling the rib cage away, holding the floor away, and then we're bridging up and forward. Where does that gets me straight on, hopefully. And now I've got a pillar knee to ear, right? So showing a bad rep, very common, is to overly bow. Again, no canister containment, so seal that down, get that in line, and back down again. Keep that tone on the underside shoulder. You want to add a bit more spice. We're bringing that leg up and trying to stay long and strong. This is where, again, we don't want to be back here. We're trying to really finish the rep. I talked a bit more there, so I'm only going to do another 2 reps, and that should be about equal time for both sides. Lock that rep out. One last one to really get that feeling. And back out again. Okay, we're almost done getting sweaty here. We're going into our plank walkouts and down onto our elbows. This is, believe it or not, already the last thing in the warm-up. Nice quick warm-ups this month. So we're aiming for 6 total of these, and I want you to really make them as good as you possibly can because we don't have a lot of them. So squat down. Work on your squat if you're a little bit tight here. Again, we're not doing anything else after this, so this is your chance to get what you need out of it. Then we're going to walk out, no waddling, so own that crawl. Now I'm going to lock my plank with purpose. Glutes are rock solid. Journey down to the elbow. Elbow, reset tension, hand, hand. Soften the legs, back in. Now show me a good squat before you stand back up again. Okay, change the lead arm. Let's walk out. I'm going to lead with my left this time. So again, I get tight first and foremost. Down, down, up, up. Now, if you've got good eyes there, that rep wasn't as good as the previous one, so I need to tighten it up. I'm going for rep number 3 now. Down, glutes tight, down. You can hear by the strain in my voice, hopefully, how tight I am being in those lower positions. Coming up for what is normally the end, 4 rounds, but we're pushing it up to 6 this time. Good. And just in case you're new to these, I'll show a poor rep. Waddling the hips on the way out, waddling on the way down, and just using momentum to help you get up again. You can clearly tell my voice had no strain in it that time. So come back to now, high tension work, final rep. Let's make this the best one yet. So we're going to really double down on that tension. Lock it hard. Arm without a weight shift. Arm without a weight shift. Re-optimize. Arm without a weight shift. Arm without a weight shift, re-optimize. Soften out those legs. Back up to standing. Awesome. Take a sip of water and we're ready for the work.